Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'd like to talk to you about the Turkish digital platform company Hepsiburada. Why? You might say, well, it got an initial public offering on the Nasdaq, which is the US's technology stock exchange, one of the most important around the globe, particularly if we're looking at technology stock exchanges. If you are reputable, if you are a powerful, world well-known technology company, or at least aspiring to be, you have to be on the Nasdaq, and Hepsiburada managed to pull this off. It's not an easy thing. You have to meet certain criteria, but once you're on it, it's quite something, because then you get on all sorts of news channels, you get shared across all sorts of social media platforms, and that has been the case for Hepsiburada. You can see it on Bloomberg, you can see it on TechCrunch and whatever. What you can also read there is that Hepsiburada was valued to be $3.9 billion of value, and I think this is quite something. It's not the most valuable Turkish company around, but it is certainly quite a big number, particularly concerning the fact that this company is very fastly growing. This is something very promising for the future. So it is set to be worth valued to be $3.9 billion. And if you look at how much money it got in return for the initial public offering, we're talking about $738 million. So the question, of course, is how did Hepsiburada get to be $3.9 billion of value, and so why did it choose to be IPO'd on the Nasdaq? What's the idea behind it, and how is this company looking towards the future? What this Hepsiburada is about? So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's start from the start. Hepsiburada is not a new company, so this might perhaps surprise you. It has had a quite different trajectory compared to many companies. This is a company that was founded in 1998, which is 23 years ago. So it was founded by Hanzade Doğan Boyner, who is part of the Doğan family, quite a powerful family in Turkey. Is very interesting. She holds quite a lot of control still of the company, which is, I think, also something very interesting and very important if we think about the future of this company. News outlets have shared that Hanzade Doğan Boyner still holds about 75% of the control over Hepsiburada, and this is quite rare for a company that's already about $4 billion of value, and that's already also quite this old. So they managed to get this far without losing control over the company. If you look at, for example, the Turkish counterpart Trendyol, which is backed by Alibaba, then here it's quite different, because in that company, Alibaba holds about 87% of the shares, and the founder, Demet Mutlu, holds only 7% of the shares currently. So quite a different trajectory. Trendyol is a bit more worth in terms of value, but in return, it has handed in a lot of the control over the company. So Hepsiburada quite successful in that regard as well, not only in terms of $3.9 billion of being of value, but also that the founder still holds about 75% of control over the company. So if you look at, the process of getting to $3.9 billion of value and how this company pulled this off, that I think we have to look at the name of the company and the fact that the company really tried to adhere to the company name. So Hepsiburada means, everything is here. It's kind of similar in terms of what Amazon aspires to be. And then also, if you know the Everything Store book, then Hepsiburada is kind of trying to be that very much as well. So Hepsiburada consists of many parts. It's a very diversified business. It has a marketplace where third-party buyers and sellers can get on the platform and buy and sell, and then of course Hepsiburada gets a commission over this. But just like many digital platforms, Hepsiburada also has its own branding, its own products with the Hepsiburada brand that it directly sells to whoever wants it. So it acts also on its own platform. That also has a logistics channel, Hepsi Express, kind of also like where Amazon is going. It is delivering its own products to whoever buys something from the Hepsiburada platform, but it also delivers others. So it's not just contingent on the Hepsiburada platform, not just dependent on it. It's actually also something that acts independently, and that way is also Hepsiburada is able to generate income from Hepsi Express, because it also acts for other companies' deliveries. Fourthly, what's very interesting is that, especially in the pandemic, Hepsiburada has diversified into grocery shopping, and so it also allows you to do your grocery shopping on the Hepsiburada platform. That way, it has acquired another income stream, but also becomes more relevant in day-to-day shopping for people, especially also for things that are vital and critical, like food and drinks. Fifthly, what's I think very interesting is that Hepsiburada has made a very contemporary step advancement, diversification in the finance area, in the fintech area, if you wish. It has a part of the company that's called Hepsi Pay. It's kind of like Alipay, if you wish. So Hepsi Pay is a part of the company that is really focusing on financial transactions. Financial transactions for now on the digital platform itself, managing the stream of cash coming in and going out, allowing you to have a wallet on the digital platform, of course. But especially it's also a step for later, where Hepsi Pay can be a standalone fintech business that's going to manage not only money going in and going out on the platform, but also money going in and going out on all sorts of different businesses. And so this way it can become a massive fintech player in Turkey, but also globally. It has also moved into aviation. Hepsifly is also part of the Hepsiburada business. It is focused on, allowing you to find cheap tickets, cheap travel, cheap holidays. It's of course mainly built on the premise of the aviation industry, which has been growing year by year before the pandemic, and Hepsiburada of course bets on this also going to continue after the pandemic, hopefully. And this way, it wants to ride the winds of growth within the aviation industry. And with that, of course, add another branch to its diversified conglomerate. One thing that's also very interesting from the perspective of Hepsiburada is that it has this female entrepreneurship program. So it's very interesting in the sense it's of course also a CSR project, right? A social responsibility project where it gives back to the community, helps females who are kind of oftentimes suppressed or at least under-supported and underrepresented in not only entrepreneurship but generally in the world. So Hepsiburada aims to support females here, but on top of this, of course, it also benefits from this because a lot of these females are trained in how to sell also on the Hepsiburada platform, and so these female entrepreneurs then come back to the Hepsiburada platform, sell on the Hepsiburada platform, and then it becomes a win-win where Hepsiburada and has a CSR project and gets a lot of extra entrepreneurial activity on its platform. So if you think about all of this, I hope you also noted that all of these parts, the diversifications of Hepsiburada are synergetic and they interact with each other. So if you think about Hepsi Pay, it's of course at the basis of kind of anything that happens on Hepsiburada. Anything you pay for, anything you buy, anything you sell goes through Hepsi Pay. Any physical good you buy or you sell goes through Hepsi Express. And so if you think about that, then everything is one way or another linked to Hepsi Express or to Hepsi Pay. And if you think about the marketplace, if you think about Hepsiburada's own branding, then you also see synergies there. Hepsiburada learns, of course, from others' activities on the platform. As others sell stuff on the Hepsiburada platform, Hepsiburada learns from it, looks at, okay, what is cheaper, what is better, and in learning from that, it develops its own products, puts its brand on it. and wins the competition with whoever is on its platform. Of course, you can say that this is unethical. Amazon also engages in similar activity, has been accused of this not being very ethical. And the question is, of course, whether Hepsiburada engages in any unethical behavior here, just like any other companies are doing or not. But at least what you see here is that data is, of course, at the key. Hepsiburada learns from its consumers, learns from whoever sell, like the third-party sellers, and that way tries to develop itself as any proper digital platform company does, hopefully though within the ethical framework. And so this interaction of these different branches of Hepsiburada is also something that strikes me as being very, very interesting. It's a proper digital platform that learns from the data, that diversifies, and makes sure that the different segments in which it is diversified interact with each other. So, as said, every buy, every sell goes through HepsiPay. The physical ones go through Hepsi Express, and Hepsiburada learns from whatever happens on the digital platform. So what does this then lead to? What's the outcome? What's the result of all of this diversification, of holding 75% of the control of the company? So why is it that this company ended up with about $4 billion of a valuation? Well, this company has been growing for 50% annually over the past 5 years, and during the pandemic, where people have been, of course, more and more interested in e-commerce and shopping digitally, Hepsiburada has doubled its volume. And so this is not nothing. A company that's not small is growing by 50% every year, and then in the pandemic accelerates despite its already massive volume to 100%. And of course, when this is the case, then of course you attract interest from investors, and is there perhaps potential in taking this forward? And of course, this IPO, this initial public offering, taking Hepsiburada to the Nasdaq, was not just by chance, was not because the company was bored. There's actually a proper idea behind it. They want to fast track, continue the growth that we have seen already for many years. And so this initial public offering has led to an income of about $700 million. And with this, Hepsiburada wants to invest further in its business. It's very important, especially because compared to other competitors, for example, compared to Trendyol, so another Turkish digital platform company, Hepsiburada has not invested that much yet in its platform over the years. It did not have a lot of external investors. Particularly, it mainly built on internal income generation. But then you see that it wants to compensate for this by having now suddenly a massive amount of income that's going to come from this initial public offering. And so, yes, there's the advantage for Hepsiburada of being one of the earliest players in e-commerce, in being a digital platform in Turkey, but it has not been enough. And this investment is very much needed for Hepsiburada to keep up the pace, especially as Trendyol is backed by Alibaba. There are, of course, very interesting dynamics going on in the Turkish digital platform e-commerce industry. And so Hepsiburada also, of course, wants to benefit from the fact that currently the tide is in favor of digital platforms, of e-commerce, especially because the pandemic is still going on, and wants to leverage this through further investments, especially also assuming that people's habits and behaviors have changed permanently with the pandemic. It hopes that this IPO is going to be worth it, and that with this money it really is going to make up for any of the shares lost in the IPO. Interesting to say is perhaps that the IPO has not gone at the cost of the control of the Hepsiburada founder. Others sold stocks. The founder of Hepsiburada didn't. So what's going to happen with the IPO money specifically, if that's what you ask? Well, then, of course, the answer I have for you. So first of all, it's going to lead to investment in the current business, especially on three parts of the business. Firstly, on the aviation part of the business, because it thinks that aviation is really a thing that's going to grow further and really wants to benefit from this as the years go on. Also having Turkish Airlines, of course, being a very important player in aviation, and Hepsiburada, of course, sharing the same nationality, being a Turkish company and Turkish Airlines. Also, of course, this is a big reason for why Hepsiburada wants to further invest in aviation. Secondly, Hepsiburada wants to invest in its financial part in HepsiPay because everything that happens on the Hepsiburada platform, one way or another, is related to finances. One way or another is related to buying or selling. So there's an income stream going on, and Hepsiburada, of course, wants to take control, wants to internalize the management of financial flows. But also, given the fact that nowadays all over the world, fintech, financial technology, becomes more and more important, it wants to spin off HepsiPay, make the independent player that's going to have massive importance in international payments industry. Thirdly, Hepsiburada wants to invest in logistics. It's Hepsi Express part. As people buy more and more, because it's a consumption world, a consumption economy, Hepsiburada wants to also take a piece of the pie over there by managing the flow of goods, making sure that if something goes from A to B, Hepsiburada at least has a big stake in a bunch of those goods because, of course, it gets commission from there. It already can increase the quality and control of its own delivery through Hepsi Express, through its logistics branch. But why not also making sure that you can aid others, and that way get a big part of the money also over there. And if you can make sure that Hepsi Express does not only become a national player, but perhaps becomes a regional or international player, then even better so. So the investment branch of things is one thing, what Hepsiburada wants to do with the money, investing in the current business, making sure that certain parts of the business grow. Secondly, however, what Hepsiburada wants to do is internationalization. For now, it's mainly a Turkish company active in Turkey. Of course, it's a big market, but it's not enough if you want to be a company like Amazon or whatever. So you have to internationalize, and Hepsiburada says that it's particularly looking at mid and Eastern Europe, Central and Eastern Europe, because they are similar markets. They're, in terms of proximity, also interesting from a logistic point of view, and looking at the amount of players and the strength of the players, Hepsiburada thinks that it has a big chance of being successful over there. And I think it kind of makes sense as a first step, especially as a stepping stone to other markets as well. So finally, one thing with which I want to end the video and underscore the trust that I have in this company staying financially attractive for many years to come. It still has, as said, 75% of the control in its own hands, and now I'm talking about, of course, the founder. And so if you have 75% of control still in your own hands, this means there's a lot more to sell in terms of shares, in terms of control as well. And of course, for this, you can get extra funding whenever need be. And so in the future, if Hepsiburada needs to scale further, it can also, again, tap the capital market to make sure that it gets additional funding to go on with the fight in Turkey, but also fuel its internationalization process, and of course also fuel the investments it's making in aviation, financial services, and logistics. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons. I wish you all the best in the world and hope to see you again anytime soon. Take care.